JetBlue 25 for 25 challenge. Oh my gosh. I took 34 flights in 45 days. I ping ponged in and out of JFK, SJU, and FLL. Ooh, I spent nearly on this experience. I questioned my sanity more than once, and I would probably do it again. The first question, of course, is what was the challenge? What did I do? And what did I get for it? JetBlue was running a promo for the 25th anniversary called the JetBlue 25 for 25 challenge. They started June 25th, 2025, and it went through December 31st, 2025 for their 25th anniversary and 2025. I learned about it November 15, much later than most individuals. Why do it? You get 350,000 points, which on average are at least worth 1.2 cents to 1.5 cents sometimes, and 25 years of Mosaic. Listen, the reason why I did it was just for the 25 years Mosaic. The Mosaic is the winning piece here. What does Mosaic give you? 2 free checked bags every time you go that are 70 pounds. I have moved countries. I moved here to Puerto Rico on JetBlue luggage. You get to choose within 24 hours the extra room, which gives you really a lot more seating space, alcohol if that's interesting to you, and better snacks. You also get in most airports a designated line just to check your bags, and your bags come out first, which a lot of other airlines and their status programs don't do, which I don't understand why not. The main reason why I did it is because I was grieving my husband. I needed to get out of the house and I needed to do something. But we'll come back to that. Did I plan properly this experience? No. No. I basically said yes to the dress, but this time to a challenge that would probably involve thousands of dollars. And it was Saturday night. I'm here in San Juan. I was home and I decided I was doing it. And the next day I was on a flight to St. Croix. Very little planning. But I said, listen, I have 45 days. I know I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We will figure it out. And I did. There was a lot of challenges. But again, get to that. I did know right away that I lived in the Caribbean, so a lot of Caribbean little small flights will be easy. My family lives out of New York City. I'll be able to use JFK and all the other New York airports as a hub, and that is what I did. I did look for as cheap flights as possible. Sometimes it was unavoidable. And I also knew I had a few trips already planned for work, for my 2 jobs, and I knew I'd be able to get some of my flights comped because all I had to do was to basically say to them, I only want to fly JetBlue, book me on JetBlue. And that worked. In that exact same mindset, in that exact same time when I was thinking about this, I just came home. I think I was home for around 2 weeks in my own apartment, looking around my stuff, seeing that my husband was no longer here with me, and I needed to leave. And I also needed to get over being alone a little bit. And when I was traveling a lot, I was constantly alone, and there was nobody to turn to. Nobody like, oh, you have the passports, you have the boarding passes, you checked us in. None of that. It forced me to really move, at least in the area of flights. Is it perfect? No. Did the repetition help? Yeah, it did. Everyone did think I was crazy. I got phone calls from people that I never really speak to saying, "Is Sarah okay?" Sleeping in airports probably is the reason why. Now, what did it actually come to? What it came to was actually 25 locations. It wasn't 25 flights because I had to go and come back probably out of a hub because that's how airlines work. So it was 25 unique destinations, 34 flights. I went 30,000 miles in the world. That's crazy. I went to JFK 7 times, SJU 3 times. I went to 2 out of the 3 Dominican Republic airports, 2 for 2 of the US Virgin Islands, and 3 for 3 for Puerto Rico. The cost was $3,832.55. The gate agents in Puerto Rico were starting to recognize me. You know you have a problem when they see you and they're like, hey, let's break down the cost because everyone wants to know and everyone is nosy. Every single airport had a different cost because some of it I paid for, some of it work paid for, but I did pay for a lot of the mini things around the flights. Does that make sense? I'm calculating in this number my flight costs, my hotel costs, my transportation costs, and my food costs. If we just look at flights, amazing. It wasn't that bad. It was only $2,350. Okay, but that was only 61% of my costs. There was more involved to going on this challenge. I had to pay for other stuff that otherwise I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't have been going to these places. I wouldn't be staying in hotels, wouldn't be buying food out of my house. Has to be considered, right? 1 second. 20% of all my costs were on transportation. That means cabs or lifts or trains, etc. That was $778. Hotels was actually really, really minute. It was only 4%. I spent around $144 on hotels. I did sleep in airports on benches. That should give you perspective of why that number is so low. Food and drink came out to around 15%. It wasn't that bad. I think it could have been worse. It could have been better. It was around $561, food and anything else, small extra snacks and stuff like that. The cheapest leg is free. I had 8 of those. My most expensive leg was actually leaving the Dominican Republic and flying to Fort Lauderdale, then flying up to Islip. But it was for 2 stops. My weirdest one was to St. Thomas because I got stuck there overnight and I had expenses that accrued that I should never had necessaried at all. Hotel covered by the airline. I had a pocket for food because I didn't get reimbursed in the end. And I had to pay more for my Uber because they gave me a voucher that basically apparently is worthless on the island. And I bought a rum. Without my 8 free flights, my cost easily would have been around 5K. I think when we think about that, I broke even on paper at the very least. It's amazing. I already booked a flight with points, and the price difference was half the cost. If you have points in your travel bank, you will have so many more options that will make the flight, hey, 750? Ooh, how about 350? That's a huge difference. That's a yes to a no to a maybe. That is life-changing amount of differences. Where did I go? I'm going to break it up by regions: Northeast, Caribbean, and Florida. I didn't really go much places else. I did go to Chicago and I did go to Virginia, to DC, but otherwise I took a job in Florida during this time, hence I got some flights comped down there. Get that stuff comped. So in the Northeast, we did JFK, Hartford, Connecticut, Buffalo, Syracuse, Newark, Islip, Boston, Westchester, and LaGuardia. In the Caribbean, I did San Juan 5 times, St. Croix, St. Thomas, Santo Domingo, Punta Cana, Ponce, and Aguadilla. In Florida, I did for work Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Sarasota, and Fort Myers. My random ones were LA, Chicago, DC, and New Orleans. St. Croix was exciting. It was my first one, really. And I met people that were doing the challenge as well. And it was like, wow, there are other people in the world doing this. I don't feel crazy. New Orleans, I went on a relief mission and I helped feed homeless people, worked in the food bank, and helped with water conservation. It was an amazing experience. Punta Cana was basically my only vacation, and it felt like a vacation, so I experienced that, and I appreciated that. St. Thomas was my rum experience. It's the best rum I've ever tasted. It comes from St. Thomas. I haven't found it anywhere else. The worst moments were being really, really tired. I think at some points I was running on 2 to 3 hours of sleep on some nights. Don't recommend. I was living on coffee, airplane food, and a lot of JetBlue plantains. Another worst part was I was really grieving. And in my first flights, every single time I got onto a plane, I cried. I cried a lot. It was really hard. I don't know what else to say. It was really, really hard. Didn't take the pain away. It's just making it slightly easier. I don't know. I had to run to my gate to make a flight, and I got taken off that flight originally. That was very stressful. That was my DC flight. A little annoying that I never got Tampa, even though I was there twice. You win some, you lose some. Another really hard part was during this time, I really decided to really make more content and make it more of a priority. And that started to take a lot of my time. And if I had a downtime, I was editing and or sleeping, left very little time to thinking, which has been nice, but also not great technically. Status is until 2050. January 31st, 2051, if we must be specific. I think it was worth it for me personally. I would do it again. I think that some people have to understand that what is worth it for them in their lives may not be worth it for somebody else, because we all live different lives and we all need different things. I will use this. Most other people don't fly enough, but last year I had 79 or 80 flights on the year. I live on a plane. I can use some status. I will say that life is short. My husband passed away really young, and now I have to live in this world grieving him for as long as I'm alive. I say to myself at night a little bit like, 25 years is a long time. A long time. 50 years? Wow, more. 70 years? Wow. People live another 70 years past what I'm alive right now. Living that long with this type of emotions, this type of experience, this type of memories. Wow. I don't know. So right now I have to focus a little bit outwards, because if not, then my brain just doesn't stop working. It doesn't stop running. It doesn't stop taking me away and sometimes it needs to just pause. And I want to look back at this time and say I did something, I accomplished something, even in my hardest times, even in my toughest moments. I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. And I think I have that. To be fair, it's 1 a.m. by me and I have a flight in 2 hours. So you can excuse me. I actually do have a flight to catch.